So, the Galaxy S23 series is most likely going to be launched towards the end of February next year, and I've put together some credible leaks for you. Let's go. Let's start with design. And first of all, there are no major design changes, at least not in the S23 Ultra, which at a glance is going to look a lot like the S22 Ultra. But having said that, the base S23 and the S23 Plus are going to have some design changes. Both will look a lot more like the S23 Ultra, with the camera housing removed and each camera lens to be an own independent island. Also, the S23 and the S23 Plus are going to be slightly taller than their predecessors by about 1/3 of a millimeter. And if I'm being honest, I'm not too happy about that because, the base S22 was like the perfect size. It fit so well in hand and one-hand use was an absolute bliss. But anyway. Now, there's been quite a bit of discussion around the bezels on all the three phones. So it seems like the S23, the base variant, is going to get thicker bezels while the S23 Plus is going to have slimmer bezels. But obviously the S23 Ultra is going to have the slimmest bezels because it's still going to be a curved display after all. Although rumors are suggesting that the S23 Ultra will have a relatively flatter design this time, and let's hope that's true. Also, it's rumored that the S23 Ultra lenses at the back are going to be slightly elevated, and that's going to protect the glass, the glass that covers the lenses, to be protected from micro scratches that do tend to deteriorate photo quality over longer period of time and use. Also, as far as design is concerned, it seems like the S23 Ultra is going to have slightly improved audio system. Now, it's possible it could happen for the S23 and the S23 Plus as well. What they're going to do is add another microphone placed symmetrically around the Type-C charging port. So, if you're a content creator and you do rely on inbuilt microphone systems, you're going to be benefiting out of that. Now, let's talk about performance and battery. So it's expected that the S23 lineup is going to come with the Snapdragon 8 Gen 2 chip, and that Samsung is going to completely ditch the Exynos series from even making into the S23 lineup. Of course, it's still a rumor, but Exynos lineup has been sort of considered like a disease for Galaxy smartphones in parts of Europe and Asia. So if Samsung ditched the Exynos series and only used Snapdragon 8 Gen 2 all across the globe, customers are going to be generally very happy. Now, the Snapdragon 8 Gen 2 is going to come with a whole slew of improvements, but the most noticeable ones are going to be improvement in everyday performance, improvement in GPU or gaming performance, and increase in battery efficiency. Let's pick up everyday performance first. So here's a quick leaked snapshot of Geekbench scores from the base Galaxy S23, and if you see, it's pretty close to the iPhone 14. And that's actually very good news. Of course, the iPhone 14 Pro is higher given the A16 chip is newer, but chances are that the S23 Ultra, which is not in this list, is going to have comparable performance given it's a bigger device, so it's going to have better heat management and be able to produce better Geekbench scores. So let's see. But in terms of GPU performance, it is expected that the Snapdragon 8 Gen 2 will outperform the A16 Bionic chip that you see in the iPhone 14 Pro and the Pro Max. But how Samsung leverages the Snapdragon 8 Gen 2, how they manage heat, thermal throttling, all of that is also going to play a key role in determining that. Now, let's also touch upon the battery efficiency because I do feel it's very closely connected to performance. Now, there were a lot of complaints over the internet with regards to the battery performance of the S22 series. But with the Snapdragon 8 Gen 2, the S23 series is destined to deliver better battery efficiency. The good news is that they are increasing the battery capacities on the S23 and the S23 Plus by about 200 mAh, while the S23 Ultra is probably going to remain at 5000 mAh just like the S22 Ultra, but hopefully it would benefit from the more optimized Snapdragon 8 Gen 2 chip and of course the LTPO display. And it also looks like they're going to introduce a light mode. You'll be able to further improve the already optimized performance of this chip in the S23 phones and get an even better battery efficiency. Now, there are some other benefits that may trickle into the S23 series as a consequence of using the Snapdragon 8 Gen 2, like a faster and more capable Wi-Fi 7 and support for faster RAM as well as faster storage. But whether the S23 series is going to leverage all of that remains to be discovered. But as of now, no. But if they did, that would be really cool. And now let's talk about the camera. And the most important upgrade is not in the base S23 variant or the S23 Plus. It's going to be in the S23 Ultra, which is most likely to get a brand new 200 megapixel sensor, and that is the biggest highlight. The S23 Ultra will ship with its default setting to either 12 or 12.5 megapixel, but will also offer a 50 megapixel mode, which seems to be currently under development. And that anyway is a software tweak and just a matter of time. But hold on, there are going to be a lot of launches even in the upper mid-range segment that would offer 200 megapixels. But here's the thing, companies like Samsung and Google, they spend a lot of time doing R&D and coming up with image processing algorithms that use these sensors to deliver high quality photos and videos, and usually levels ahead of, the other companies. In fact, even if I just compare the photos that I used to take with S22 Ultra when it was running One UI 4.1, and now when I take them when it's running One UI 5, the official version, there's quite a bit of difference in image quality and video quality. So with these software upgrades, they really do a good job at optimizing these sensors and delivering great photography and videography experiences. But other than this 200 megapixel story for the S23 Ultra, there are 3 other improvements that you can expect across the entire S23 series. First, stabilization of videos. Second, better telephoto lens performance. And third, better low light photos. Now let me focus a bit on video stabilization. See, when Apple launched their iPhone 14 series, they introduced something called as Action Cam. And what that does is that when you're shooting and if your recording is shaky, it sort of produces, or the end result is a pretty stable video. And it does that in 2.8K resolution. Now Samsung, about 2 to 3 years back, they came up with something called as Steady Shot. And that did pretty much the same thing, but it's been like that for 2 to 3 years, and it does that in 1080p quality. That too with some distortion. And so that is one area where I think Samsung really needs to improve for the S23 series. For all you know, they might just do it for the S23 Ultra and call it Ultra Stabilization or something. But yeah, that we can expect. And as far as the telephoto lenses go, I don't think there's anything different about the hardware, but with the Snapdragon 8 Gen 2 chip, you're gonna have better processing capabilities, better neural capabilities, which means better AI, and with software optimization, Samsung should really be able to improve the telephoto lens performance. Alright, that's pretty much what I know so far about the Galaxy S23 series. There's no information about the pricing or the bundles because it's a bit too early for that, and any speculation right now is going to be a big speculation. My point of view on this, don't get the S22 Ultra just yet. Wait for the S23 series. It's going to be a more recent launch. It's going to have a more optimized performance, better battery life, and you're also going to get that 1 year extra software update that you won't get with the S22 Ultra. So you're so close to that launch. So if you could wait out the next 2.5–3 months, I suggest you do that. Alright, that's pretty much what I had. If you guys enjoyed watching the video, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and hit that bell notification icon and mark all. I'll see you guys in the next one.